Welcome, good morning. Today's leadership challenges is the topic of our joining today. My name is Petek Tadej. I'm Managing Director in DEVELOR Slovenia, and I'm really happy you could join us. This is our 23rd event of the series Rethink HR. We're really proud that we keep doing them since 2020. Today we had over 400 registrants. It is almost 200 in a call already, and people are still joining. And all of you, I would really like to say welcome. Do enjoy our discussion with also our distinguished guest that we will introduce later about leadership challenges. We know that the changes are forcing us to actually adapt, to change ourselves, which we know is the hardest thing to do, but again, we know that we can do it. Our mission with these events is first to inspire you. We want to inspire you to get some new idea, to get some hints, to actually think about the topics and try to apply it in your work. We also want to engage you. If you are engaged, if you talk in the chat, if you discuss with colleagues later in the breakout rooms, it will be plenty of opportunities. You are engaged. The more I'm engaged into something, the more I think about it, the more I can use it in my life. And at the end of the day, we want to connect. We want that we connect with you, you connect with us, and you connect to each other. So let me not forget that we want to also inspire you to go and find the nearest event, local event in your countries. Just a few ones mentioned here in Czechia, Slovakia. They're at the end of the next month and also in November. In Ukraine, you see it listed here. Then Central Asia. One already this month and the next one the next month. And please don't forget that if there are not listed your local DEVELOR events not listed here, it doesn't mean they don't exist, they don't happen. Please do contact your colleagues, your local DEVELOR colleagues, and you will get to know all about them. You can scan the QR codes immediately, of course. And of course, you can follow us also on social media. If you don't, you can scan these codes, QR codes immediately, or find us on the web page. So why are we here today? Before I actually go into this, the session is being recorded. I told you already, but for the ones that joined later, the session is being recorded. We will share the recordings with you in a couple of days, maybe a week or so, and it will be available to all of you attending. So also, we will record the whole session apart from breakout rooms at the end, but I will tell you about this slightly later. The best view, as I said, is side-by-side speaker view. So we can see the person talking in a bigger screen. Why are we here today? Basically, as mentioned, our biggest topic is how do we lead effectively in today's complex workplace. We need new ideas, fresh ways to deal with different generations, different cultures, emotional issues that are getting up more and more important every day. Situations that are not expected, situations that are completely new and sometimes shocking, but they appear and we need to live in these times. So all of us that are actually dealing with people and relations and communication, We know that there is not easy way, but there always is a way to go on. And how and what to do, we will see and talk about today. What is today's agenda? First, you are already in it. We have opening and short presentation of me. Tadej Petek is my name. I'm your host today. Then we will go to keynote presentation of my colleague and expert Bartek Josek. He's MD, Managing Director of DEVELOR Poland. He will talk about leading in polycrisis era. After his keynote, we will have a lively discussion with our distinguished guests. We have Mr. Andras Kriza, who is HR Manager in Ford Business Solutions. Next, we have Matthias Miklos. He's Organizational Development Lead in KPMG Global Services. And the third of our guests is Miha Trunkel. He's Head of Business Development in EMP Promont in Slovenia. After we have heard the views and experiences of our guests, you will be invited into breakout rooms where we will go into details in the three fields. One is leadership in the bunny world. So changes, how to deal with changes, how can we also train to be ready for the changes. The second one is generational diversity for leaders. We know that we have many generations, not only in our teams, but also as leaders. And the third one is lead with growth mindset. The times today are really forcing us to learn, develop, and grow every day. So saying, oh, I don't need this, or I don't feel like doing this, it's today really toxic. And live and lead with growth mindset will tell you more about how to do it in this breakout room. If you have any question, please don't hesitate to put it in a chat. My colleague will be reading to this, and if this is something urgent, I will get the voice out, and you can get the question if it cannot be open to you in a chat. Okay, so let us go on, and I already mentioned some changes, and dealing with change, we had a model that was called VUCA. It's actually from 1980s and even earlier that this was like introduced, and it actually is describing the situation of ambiguity and complexity of the world. VUCA was standing for volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous world and environment that we lived in. But today, that actually goes in about 2020 to a concept of bunny. Later, you will hear more about this, but that actually describes how employees experience the, let's say, the pressure, and what is the next generation of businesses expected to handle. It is bunny, that stands for brittle, anxious, non-linear, and incomprehensible. So things sometimes we don't understand, we still need to deal with them. As I said, most of this will be actually answered and talked about later. But let's just shortly see what are the main forces that are reshaping leadership today. We all know that we need to deal with technical disruption. AI, automation, digital tools, and changing how we work is actually becoming everyday's, let's say, situation. So leaders must adjust to fast tech while still connecting with people. Today doesn't matter how old you are and what generations you belong to, you need to deal and live with this technology. The second force of reshaping leadership is global and remote work. Teams now work remotely and globally, so leaders need to find ways to manage and build performance across all different time zones and cultures. So this is also a new reality that we need to face and live with. Then changing employee expectations. Usually it was years ago. It was almost enough to agree on what's the salary and what is maybe how many days of, let's say, free time and vacations the colleague will get. Today, the expectations are much more complex. People want to have meaningful work. They want to see and feel that they're changing, improving the world. They want to have flexible options, real leaders, not the ones that only say what and how to do it, but also lead them into development and growth. And the fourth force is social and environmental pressures. We in companies are expected to show social responsibility, care for the environment, lead with ethics, and all this business must be done with mind on also these social and environmental pressures. So these are actually the four major forces that we need to take into account. And one of the things that was already mentioned, and we will talk about this later, is how good leaders that know that each generation offers special strengths and also viewpoints. And the goal is to actually join and connect all these generations for the common goal, for the vision of our company, for the vision of our, and also mission of our organizations. Generations can work well together, and the value added is actually much bigger if we can employ all of them. Emotional demands of modern leadership is something that we need to face. There is much more emotional work. We need to handle business goals in our teams and making sure that everyone feels safe, psychological safety, reducing stress, more understanding. We need to show, we need to take time to understand people better, and we need to find ways so people don't get burnout and that are not too overwhelmed with the everyday's job. Tough choices, of course, we need to make. Sometimes we need to take some decision not knowing exactly what was causing the situation that occurred, and many times we're not even sure what our decision will actually make happen in the near future. So really important is also to be real, and being real versus being in charge is also a very hot topic. Sometimes was we needed to be sure that we are right, correct, whereas today this being real is actually even more important. So on the other hand, we need to be real. We need to sometimes admit that we don't know the situation, and of course, more and more we need to admit that our colleagues know some things better than us, but that is not diminishing our role of a leader in these times. Bunny word I mentioned before, old VUCA became Bunny, and Bunny better describes how challenging leadership is today. Brittle, anxious, non-linear, and incomprehensible is the Bunny. That is actually acronym for today's word in the organizations. A last thing is the solution that covers quite a bit of what was said before. Basically, that's my personal growth mindset. I am what I am is simply not enough. I need to develop, and I am what I'm becoming. It's really hot topic in today's world, especially for leaders that need to lead with example and be a role model for their colleagues. How to be that role model and how to lead, we will ask our keynote speaker, that's Bartek Josek, Managing Director in DEVELOR Poland, who we will ask to actually tell us how to do it from his point of view. Bartek?
Thank you, Tadej. Thank you for this introduction. I couldn't promise that I will tell you how to do it in 20 minutes, so it's mission impossible, but at least I think I could raise your attention for some specific elements, topics, what you could just apply as a leader or as an HR person supporting the leaders in the organization. So what I would like to bring here will be a short speech about how to lead in the poly-crisis era. I would describe the environment leaders are facing nowadays, but I focus more attention about the competences they are needed with some examples, case studies, and at the end I will provide you with some tips how to make it really actionable. So to end this short presentation with something you could just take away. First of all, I have a question to you. Regarding this picture, many presenters on the leadership conferences or the trainings are finding and presenting the metaphor of the great team and the great leader. Do you believe that the metaphor of the great sports team in basketball winning the championship or in any sport is a good metaphor for the nowadays business? So please write down into the chat. This is really appropriate, good metaphor of the capabilities, behaviors of the team players, and also how to lead this kind of team. So it's a coach of the sports team, good metaphor or the role model for leaders nowadays. So how you feel it? So please write it down into the chat. I was thinking about this, creating this presentation, and I feel that this is my, of course, personal perception that this metaphor doesn't work anymore. Why? So I found a very nice nice article by Simon Sinek about what kind of game we are now playing in our business. So here is the story. So as an example, if we take, for example, basketball or any sport game like football or hockey, this is the kind of finite game. So the objective is really simple. We need to win. The players are known, so we know all the players on the field. And the rules are fixed, so you know that in the basketball we have 3 points, 2 points, and 1 point shots. So it's really fixed. But in case of the business nowadays, I truly believe that this is completely different. We are dealing with more infinite game, which objective is to keep playing, so not to be kicked out from the business. And the players sometimes, of course, are known, but sometimes are unknown. Just to give you an example, it could be the competition which really pop up from nowhere, grabbing a part of your business. Like, for example, the Uber taking the taxi businesses and so on and so forth. There are many examples of that. And also the rules in our game, the business game, could change. So they are not fixed. There are new regulations. There are some crises that they are influencing our job. So it's more like infinite game, in my opinion. So we need to find another metaphor, and I will try to do it at the end of this presentation. So, first of all, describing the environment. Tadej told at the beginning about the new acronym called BUNNY. And I feel that it's of course valid, but the people and HR leadership specialists found a new word for that, which is called polycrisis. And what is the polycrisis? This is the situation that, because, for example, I feel that in the many leadership trainings from last years, the buzzword was the change management. So we as a leaders could manage the change, and the change will stop somehow, and then maybe in some time will be another change. Now we are facing the situation that the change is constant. I have some ground voices. It's not mine. So if you could just mute the participant.
Yes.
So in case of the polycrisis, there are the situations that there are many crises: economic, geopolitical, technological, social, and so on, and they occur at the same time. And this is not the end. They interact with each other. And as a sum of its parts, they are influencing our business. So it's not just many problems happening at once, it's how they collide and amplify each other. So this is the current situation we as a leaders are dealing with. And I think that the traditional leadership model starts to struggle. And the goal is not longer, as it's written here, to cope with the change, but to thrive in an environment where the constant chaos is here to stay. So I think this is the good approach for every leader, and this is a good quote for us, that we need to accept that the chaos is here and it stays for long. Just think about some perceptions why the traditional leadership model is struggling. Tadej mentioned the Gen Z and the diverse environment in case of the people from different generations. For example, many people are talking about the Gen Z quiet quitting. I think this is a kind of misdiagnosis. It's not a kind of disengagement, it's rejection of the outdated leadership. So this is the real source, and the lack of fairness, structure, and psychological safety gives this rejection of the traditional leadership model. So we need to change in many elements, and let's dive deeper and investigate those elements. And based on the article from the Harvard Business Review, I found out three challenges the leaders are dealing in this polycrisis era. First one is about the disruption beyond C-suite. What does it mean? It means that the continuous disruption is not longer just for the top executives. So leaders at every level should navigate this chaotic, unpredictable environment. So the ability to recognize it, assess, and react to change is paramount. So this is the first one. The second, also mentioned by Tadej at the beginning, is the human factor and these generational shifts. So particularly this Gen Z generation approaching the market, these people are teaching us what is really important. And we, during these years of running business, we forgot. So I'm really, as a leader, thankful for them that they remind us what is really important and why we should focus more on this human element. And the next one is, of course, the technical revolution and expectation from the leaders to be more digitally literate. And it's it's for us as a leaders necessity to empower people to develop these competences. It's not more the IT department responsibility. So every single employee, every single leader should be like this, should be technically literate and skilled. And the last but not least is this hybrid work mastery. That means that we need to orchestrate diverse groups, full-time, part-time, contract, and so on, and from different cultures, different zones, which makes really this life of the leader really difficult. But there are some, of course, solutions how to do it. So we have these four challenges, but now I'm curious, based on that what I just said about this polycrisis, about these challenges, and probably much more you know than it was written there. I would like to ask you what competences you feel are needed nowadays from the leaders. And to do it, I will just introduce you to this short Mentimeter survey. So please just scan the QR code and just write down the competences you feel that are needed from the leaders nowadays. If the QR code is not working, then go to the menti.com website and just use the code which is at the top of the screen. All right, some competences already arriving. Of course, if you would like to stress something more, which is written and you didn't vote it yet, you could just use the same word, and we will see the bigger word for that, which means that more participants are stressing this as a important competence. Okay, just 1 minute more to fill in what we see here, and what really goes up is emotional and intelligence, flexibility, resilience, agility. The growth mindset is also there. Listening, focus. Okay, self-awareness. Curiosity, yes, very important one. There is also delegation, stress resistance, strategic thinking. Work under pressure. Okay. So I think this is quite an interesting survey. It shows the competences from, as I see, from two perspectives. So I will try to organize it a little bit on the next slide. So let me just stop the survey, and I will just move to the slide, because what I see, and what also proved this small survey, is that we could just create two broad areas or core pillars of the new leadership. One is the human-centered. So you just presented in the survey that there is an emotional intelligence necessity. There is a lot of resilience needed. And this human-centered approach was mentioned by you. And also the second part, which is influenced by this external resources or sources, is being adaptive, reacting to change, experimenting, and so on and so forth. So I think I would like to give you this short model as a kind of organized way to think about the core pillars of the leadership. And to make it a little bit more tangible, I would like to share with you two case studies about both core pillars of this new leadership. One is connected with the guy who you could see on this picture. This is the CEO of the Airbnb. The guy is Brian Chesky. And what he did, and why I brought this case study as a human-centered approach. You could easily imagine the situation in this kind of company in the 2020, when the pandemic hit. So the business of Airbnb collapsed almost overnight, because every flight was canceled. People were not traveling anywhere. So all bookings disappeared. The company had no choice at that time, and they need to let go fairly 2,000 people. So it's a really tough situation. And for many organizations, layoffs mean the code numbers and the standard HR letters. But this CEO did it, I think, very clever and more human centered. And he wrote a message that was really deeply human. So here on the picture you could see a parts of the letter he just sent to the people during this situation. But this is of course much wider. But what he did, he didn't hide behind the corporate language. This is, I think, the first important statement. And he explained openly why this is happening, what is happening, and how the decisions were made. So he spoke about the people, not about the positions. And those people leaving were promised some extra healthcare, job placement support, and so on, and also severance. And at the very end, he didn't, as you could see on this picture, sign it as a CEO of Airbnb. It was just simple, Brian. So that's also something I think significant. And the employees during this process felt respected, valued, and cared for. Even the situation was very tough. So I think for us leaders in this specific, difficult, turbulent times, it's important also how we deliver the messages to our people, and don't forget about this human touch. So this is the first mini case study, and the second one is another CEO, the CEO of Microsoft, Satya Nadella, and I think this is the good example of adaptive approach. What this guy did. He was appointed as a CEO in 2014, and Microsoft that time was on the crossroads, especially because, of course, we could see the Microsoft as a tech giant, once unstoppable, but that time they started to begin to lose the grounds, especially in the areas like cloud, computing, and mobility. So it was a really difficult business situation. Inside the company, also, the culture has grown rigid. Employees often work in silo, feeling disconnected and less engaged. And what this guy did, he brought a new kind of leadership. And Tadej mentioned as a very important also for him, the growth mindset approach. So what he did, it was just bringing to the company the culture based around this growth mindset approach. And the good phrase and good summary of that is this phrase on the picture: from know-it-all to learn-it-all. So the Microsoft became not to be the company who knows it all. He started to learn, and it's also connected with the leadership approach. And it was very demanding for them to recreate this culture, but they did it, because at the end, as a result, they really became again the leader in the cloud space. So the business results were at the end. And I think for me it's really important learning that it's not more expected from the leader to know it all, but to learn it all. This is the expectation. And here I also created a small picture with some specific competences we are really observing they are increasing in case of demand in our leadership program. So from this human-centered part, conflict navigation, well-being advocacy, psychological safety, empathy, and also deep listening. So I just collected some topics we see that they are expected from the leaders and expected from our customers. On the other side, we have adaptive leadership, which is also connected with the sense making, tech curiosity, of course, but also this strategic foresight, because I think it's a good remark for the leader that I need to see some vision. What is at the end? Even the peak I'm climbing is foggy, but I need to know what I'm trying to reach at the end. So this strategic foresight is also here. And as I promised you, because the theory looks nice, looks good, the competences and so on, but how to make it more actionable. And here are just four practice I really like. from different companies I'm working with, and also some practice from our DEVELOR community. And the first one is the practicing micro listening. So if you are a leader, start to do it like this. It's not a big deal. It's just spending 2 minutes a week with your colleague, with your colleague in your team, asking him or her only 2 questions. So what's working well for you and what's getting in your way? It's a kind of listening and feedbacking session. So, but it's really powerful. This small step in this element. It's about deep listening. It's about human touch. So we need to take care about the people. And what is very important is short. The next one is called fail shares. It's about starting meeting with the sharing failure. Of course, we could organize a special event for that. Some of the companies are calling them fuck up events. So people are talking about what didn't work, what failed. It could be also some add-on to your existing meeting. So if you are running meeting with your team, you could start with some sharing of the failures, but to create a psychological safety, this is very important that as a leader, don't expect that people will start to do it before you start to share as a leader your failures. So this is a crucial point in that and crucial remark. So this is the second one. The third one is seeking cross-boundary experiences, because as it was mentioned, for example, in Microsoft, in other big companies, people are working in silos. To break down those silos, we need to have a knowledge and experience what they really face, what challenges they are really facing in other departments. And from the HR point of view, it's very important to create this opportunity for the leaders. In case of the, as a leader, you could volunteer for that. So it's also important in your leadership development to volunteer for this project outside your core function. Based on that, you are building your new leadership skills. And the last but not least is designing moments that matter. What does it mean? In this hybrid environment, the occasions we are meeting face to face are rare than it was in the past. So if we are meeting face to face, it's very important to design this experience. We are doing that in our DEVELOR community because of the fact that we are meeting with each other in person only 2 times in a year. We are working in this remote environment in the different countries, but together as an international group, we are meeting 2 times a year. And this is like 4 hours, 4 days event. We are designing this very precisely. We need to have the best practice sharing. We need to have the powerful TED Talks. We have a lot of team buildings, not only to sit down and hear the presentation. So we are really taking care on that. And we are starting preparation half year before the event it's done. So it's really important. If you are responsible for that kind of elements, think about that from this perspective. It should be something really good prepared and unique for the people and to make it meaningful. So those are 4 actionable practices as a takeaway from my speech. I would like also to ask you to share some actionable practices in the chat. If you have something that really works for you as a leader, or you have this specific practice in your from your HR point of view in your company, please share, because this is the event about sharing. So I will be glad to see some examples. I probably need to speed up, so I'm just summing this up. And if there will be some interesting chat ideas, please just grab them. Building the future, and now, of course, for the ready leaders, it's not something blurry. It's a strategic imperative. So every single company and every single HR departments need to invest that time is a not luxury for the good times. It's a necessity for now. The also important is that the holistic development is important here in case of developing the leadership competences, because the scope is wide. But it's really important from the HR perspective to combine the formal training with the on-the-job learning, some cross-unit rotations, as I mentioned, action learning projects to make it really powerful for the people and comprehensive. I also like something new, which is called the vertical development. It's a little bit different approach from adding new skills to widening of perspective of thinking the people, how they are analyzing data, how they are drawing conclusions. So I think one of the hot topics nowadays became the critical thinking and problem solving as a not the skill building training, but the widening perspective training. So it's something, the vertical development we will investigate for sure in the upcoming future. And top-down commitment is really, really crucial. So what I really like that the senior leadership need to be in line with that. I was running the focus groups last 2 weeks in the company to help them to investigate the company culture. And they were curious why people are, for example, not attending the events the HR is organizing for them. And one of the major reasons of that people are not attending is because of the fact that the top executives are not attending too. So giving the good example and this commitment is really crucial. And at the end, of course, we need to define the clear KPIs, how we are really developing the people here. And as I promised you, the last final metaphor, I think is better than the sports team, is the people and the group of, the team is rather, and the leader, a kind of expeditions is trying to reach the peak or the top of the mountain.
Summit.
It's
summit.
Yeah, it's summit. It's like that. Of course, sometimes leader is leading the group, but sometimes he's a little bit tired or she. Then someone is overtaking the charge. We need to share the failures because it's very risky environment. Sometimes the road is foggy. We need to adjust or find another way to go to the top. So I think this is the metaphor in my opinion. And this is it from my side. I hope you enjoyed that. And I'm wishing you all the best in the leadership development, and try the small things, the small actionable tips, at least what I shared from during this presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you ever so much, Bartek. Did I hear correctly that basically the change begins with me, leader? This is actually nothing exactly new, but at the end of the day, it is showing that basically, yes, as you said in your example, if the top management is skipping the events, of course, people will sooner or later not be motivated to attend themselves. So thank you ever so much one more time. And let us now move to our distinguished guest. Let me shortly introduce them to you. So the pictures, you will see them if you have like right settings to see the speaker, you will see them live. But just shortly, in the middle, let me start with Andras Kriza, HR Manager of Ford Business Solutions. He will, of course, share his views from the automotive experiences and what's going on there. On the right, we have Matthias Miklos. He's Organizational Development Lead in KPMG Global Services. So we have special services point of view. And on the left, we see Micha Trunkel. He's Head of Business Development in EMP Promont. Very experienced and proactive hydrogen expert who is leading now the team of specialists in EMP Promont company in Slovenia. So I will stop share so we each other better. Let me first ask Bartek a question as expert Bartek. So after hearing all challenges and presenting your solutions, my hints, what do you think is one fundamental mindset shift which is non-negotiable for leaders nowadays?
I think that I could repeat what I mentioned during the presentation. This is the switch from know it all to learn it all. So just so simple.
Super, short and sweet and to the point. Thank you very much. Thank you, Bartek. Now I will ask Andras and then Matthias same question. Let me start with Andras, please. Andras, what do you see as the most urgent leadership challenge in your industry right now?
Thank you very much for welcoming everybody to the meeting. I think the most challenging piece that we have so many different opportunities around us, how we can manage to find the right focus, and also providing to our team a less anxiety word and making sure that we are able to show a direction for the team. But I see that we have a very diverse workforce with a different type of people in the arena. And at the same time, sometimes I feel that young people are having a really significant added value to the team. So how we are also balancing out that regardless of age, we are having a right combination of the quality of the work and be able to deliver also the quality.
Brilliant. Thank you, Andras. Matthias, same question. Most urgent leadership challenge in your industry, so special services.
I think I would go with the balance of speed and organic growth, in a sense that we have a fantastic pool of talents and they are really, really eager to grow into leadership roles. And of course, there is a high pressure of speed in terms of they need to be ready. However, on the other hand, leadership is not something that you can learn from a book overnight. So it takes time and you need organic growth so that you understand that you are now responsible for other human beings. So I think that's the balance that's quite hard, I'd say.
Okay, so basically, if I understand it correctly, speed on one side and stamina to actually grow with time.
Being patient with time, I would say.
Thank you, Matthias. Super. Micha, you made the journey from highly technical role in your innovative hydrogen projects into leading people. How did you personally experience this challenge of the human factor becoming so central for your business as well?
Yeah, my approach when growing through this role of specialist, or more or less doing, my job, was always based in the fact that I really liked my job. I really liked my job. I was very interested in this technology, and not only that, it was also aligned with my values. So now when I'm trying to work with the team, I'm trying to actually motivate them in the same manner as I was experience my motivation growing on some projects, and other projects maybe not so much. So what I'm trying to do is to find the triggers and see the response, and then apply more of it when I see that the response was satisfactory in terms of what we wanted to achieve as a team together. So this is basically it.
If I understand correctly, you're looking for the good stuff to multiply the good stuff.
Exactly. I'm looking into good stuff in people to see what is their personal, interest in a mutual goal. So
brilliant, super. Yeah. Thank you, Micha. Okay, Bartek. You heard perspectives from corporate services, automotive, specialized engineering. From your expert point of view, what is the common thread that tie these challenges?
Oh, it's a very wide question. So now the common thread. I have a feeling that I like this approach not to speed up in this what we are planning, what we are implementing. The adaptivity, being adaptive from the certain point of view is important, but we need to have this vision. So we need to know the summit we are climbing. So always trying to not to lose the big picture at the end. So I think this is the thread, because if we are experiencing the so many changes from the different environments in this poly crisis, it's a really easy to fall into the trap that we are just jumping from one action, one project to another one, losing the big picture at the end and our vision. So, and I'm really working nowadays very strongly with the companies who are looking for that, and the leaders who need to figure out what is the vision of the department we are leading. So like that.
Super. Thank you. So we still have a urge and need to know what is actually there, although it is in a foggy, the summit in a fog, as you mentioned before, if I understand you correctly. Okay, let's see a little bit about generational collaboration. And Andras, can I ask you, what generational differences have you seen at Ford, and how have you addressed them?
Interesting question. Actually, on one side, a lot. And we just had a discussion that if we are taking our most efficient teams, then the efficient teams are the ones who are Generation Z, or they are ones who are following a kind of an old pattern in terms of being self-driven, self-motivated, eager to learn, eager to understand connectivity and divide the picture. And we realized that despite of all of those discussions and all of the studies about Generation Z, the most efficient teams are really following an old practice of being very much close to each other, collaborating in the same space, and having a very individual, and from a good sense, an individual approach that how much they would like to add to the whole. And on the other side, personal expectations, personal preferences are not the drivers of common success. And the individualistic approach is not drivers of good team performance. So all in all, what I experienced, that we are still human beings in a sense that even in the last 20 years, our overall DNA does not change a lot. How we are able to build up a very effective team and a collaborative team.
Super. Thank you very much, Andrej. So, Bartek, again to you. What is a common pitfall you see leaders, let's say, fail into when trying to bridge these generational gaps and differences? And what is more effective approach you feel or you experience?
I think I will share with something which came up from the focus groups I was just leading with the Gen Z people. We had two groups. One group was the people from the Gen Z during the studies, so not on the workplace yet. And the second was the Gen Z people working on this now in the business. And it was really significant that they have completely different set of the answers. Not the set, the answers were completely different, because even, for example, the group before the job, they questions the hierarchy in the organizations. And for example, there were people in the group already working, they really liked the hierarchy because they found it up like this is similar like in the games. So they are leveling up, so reaching some new levels. And it was of course, this is not the research, but just an opinion of the participants during this focus group. But the biggest lesson for the leader is from this focus groups I was leading, is that as a leader, don't pretend and don't try to be as they are. You are not the Gen Z. Don't pretend to be a Gen Z. Be yourself, be authentic, and this is the best solution. So they are not expecting from us being like they are nowadays. So this is it.
Okay, super, thank you. And thank you very much for sharing experience. As theory, we can read online as much as we want, but the real life experience counts much more. Matthias and Micha, do you have some really quick generational, let's say, experience to add? Matthias first, please.
Happy to. I think you use the word difference, and I think that's one of the key things, that every generation is different. But let me elaborate. Every geographical generation is different. And I think we can fall into the trap that we label the other person, oh, you're a boomer, oh, you're a Gen Z. But if that person is coming from the States, if that person is coming from South Africa or whatever, it's going to be a completely different generation. So I think that's one of the key takeaway for me, is that even though there are like generational studies which are very valuable and important, we shouldn't take it as granted, and we shouldn't label the other person by default that I know you, you're a boomer, because we can be very, very wrong if the person is coming from a different geographical location.
Okay, super. Thank you so much, Matthias. Another aspect we shouldn't forget, also geography. Thank you, Micha. Any quick thoughts about generations?
Yes, that we are approaching this through knowledge transfer, and we are trying also. I think the key thing is that the younger colleagues are willing to listen, to the experience and let's say, the track record, and the older, they have to accept some, let's say, different view. And at the end, I think we can build some innovation here. So this is the important part that I want to say, that old and young together, I think, is one of the very good solutions. And we are trying to, of course, to get as much out of it as possible.
Thank you ever so much, Micha.
Yeah.
Just preparing for this, I found in basically it's a magazine, Glas Gospodarstva in Slovenia, published by Gospodarska zbornica Slovenije, exactly an article about innovation, and president of Oroto Group, Matjaž Pavlinek, was talking exactly what you said, how they managed to actually find out that innovations are so much better and faster when we can join all the generations and experience, and also new ones into it.
I think that you can actually achieve competitive advantage if you try to work like this.
This is so good.
But the main thing is that you set up a culture that enables such a cooperation. So everybody in the game should be aware of their role in order to have the final result from the process.
So culture is a key word here. Thank you, Micha. Matthias, let's turn to solutions. How KPMG fostering a culture of continuous learning and growth mindset? What are your views and experience?
Since you have previously used the analogy of sports, I'm going to use the same, because that's what I do. For example, if I go to any kind of learning intervention, think of learning as sports in a way that you need to focus on the actual step in front of you rather than the end goal somewhere down the road. This is pretty much like sports. If you are too much focused on the fact that you want to win a gold medal, you're actually not going anywhere. You need to focus on the fact that you want to run faster, and that will result in a gold medal. And I think that's pretty similar to learning. You need to focus on the fact that you want to be better every single day. And a very quick tip, how we do that, or how I personally do that, I ask one single question at the end of the week. Is there anything I could have done better?
Super.
If the answer is no, still fine. If the answer is yes, even better. So just ask yourself, can you do something better every week?
Super, super. 1% better a week and infinity growth. Thank you very much. Thank you, Matthias. Miha, thinking about your leadership program with DEVELOR, what was your biggest personal aha moment? And can you share a concrete tool or insight that you use daily or weekly basis still now?
Just a moment. Yeah, sorry, small interruption. With DEVELOR, yeah, I will start with the probably the most obvious one. You know, it's not nice to label people, but we're trying to assign some colors to them.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
This was a very good tool to try to recognize these colors in my colleagues, and then going from there, try to get out of them, you know, something
data
that,
messaging.
sorry.
no, it's we're
Yeah.
muting already.
In doing that, then try to place them into position which enables whole team to function better. Yes.
So if I understand correctly, self-awareness, and then with insight discovery, using the strengths that the, let's say, behaviors of your colleagues are bringing into a team.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, Miha. So thank you very much. I thank you all. Miha, Matthias, Andras, thank you for your answers. I know you have many more things to share, but of course, we still want to go further with a really important part of our meeting, and this will be breakout rooms.